Actually, I've never talked about that with anyone. Let me think. Yeah, maybe I talked to one of my close friends. Definitely not online. I didn't put it out there yet, but I'm going to talk about it. I believe all human beings, we all want to improve different areas of our life. That improvement comes with change. So we want change, but we're also very resistant to change. So it seems like we want a better life, but we don't want things to change too much. And it is not possible. And I've been following a couple of different people who channel different energies, different entities, and different people who are talking about astrology. And apparently 2025 is it's about change in a macro scale and also in a micro scale in our individual life. And I can see that, especially in the last few days. And I think there is a lot more coming in March, because there's going to be some eclipses, solar eclipse, lunar eclipse. Eclipses always come with a lot of change. So things that eclipse out of your life and new things that come into your life. And it will be just amazing to have this awareness and consciousness, and just remind ourselves to just tell ourselves this simple sentence: just be open to change. Be open to change. And it's hard sometimes, because again, we are comfortable in some areas of life. Like we want to stay in where we are, our home, our things that we are used to. We don't want to move, we don't want to change. But nothing great comes by us staying in the same environment. Everything exciting always comes after a change, either small or big. At the bigger the change, the bigger the opportunity, and yeah, the other side of it would be more interesting things. The problem is, it is so easy to get instant gratification. It's just at our fingertips. The remote, the cell phone, Instagram is there, YouTube is there. You can consume content forever and you're not going to run out of content. But you're right, it's the choice, it is the option. You have the choice at any moment to continue what you've been doing, which is distracting yourself with social media or TV or Netflix, or do something different. Like take a notebook, get a pen, write things down, journal, write down what you're interested about. Exactly as you said, that's such a great point. I've experienced that recently. I've never talked about that with anyone. Let me think. Yeah, maybe I talked to one of my close friends. Definitely not online. I didn't put it out there yet, but I'm going to talk about it. I'm trying to work on my channeling skills, because everybody has that talent and skill and ability to channel. And we do that most of the time. We do that, but we think like that's only when you hear something new or another voice. A lot of time that channeling is the knowing. You have a knowing about something, and you're just so certain about it out of nowhere. And I'm trying to connect with my mentor, with Bob Proctor, because he passed away 3 years ago. And I find myself at night, I actually have it on my calendar. I put on my calendar, connect to Bob at 8 p.m. And sometimes I find myself just wanting to take the easy route, which is just scrolling and getting lost in social media. And every time when I choose that over connecting with Bob or working on my practices or spirituality, at the moment it might feel good, but later on I'm like, oh, I wasted 2 hours of my time. You could do something more exciting, that creating your own life basically, instead of watching other people living a life on Netflix. Yeah, so many things you said I want to touch on. When you were talking about that's 2 hours of my life that I wasted if I scroll, it reminded me of how Bob puts it. He says, you are exchanging your life with whatever it is that you're doing. And when you think about it, like, I'm exchanging how many hours of my life with scrolling on social media. Like, that's mind-blowing. Like, what is that? My life like doesn't worth anything. You talked about choice, and you said people, like, sometimes they're drifting, but you always have a choice. And to me, like, if you can think, if you're a human being capable of thinking for yourself, you always have a choice, because you always have a choice to think a different thought. Even in the bad, quote unquote, bad situation, we label things, we judge situations. Who says this situation that we're calling it bad is not the best thing that could have happened to us for our improvement few years from now when we look back? And this has happened so many times to me, and I'm sure to so many people. Something happens, we don't want it, we resist it, we fight it, we call it bad, we say, poor me, why me? And then few years after, sometimes maybe 5 years, 10 years, you look back and you're like, oh, that thing took me there, and it made me to move to this place, or move to that person, or do that thing that I didn't want, and I ended up doing this and that led me to where I am right now, which I love. So you never know there is no good or bad. There is absolutely nothing called good or bad. I would like to look at it as everything is energy. Everything is made of the same intelligent substance. I'm reading the book Science of Getting Rich. Again, I love this book. And he talks about this substance, this formless substance. Everything is made of the same substance, same energy. And there is absolutely no good or bad. It is our perception that makes something good or bad. Something that we don't like and maybe made us fail, again, quote unquote, we can look at it as a lesson, as you were just saying. So I did that, I didn't like the outcome, that was a lesson, I'm not going to do that again. And like a beautiful example that we all know is Edison. How many times he tried? 10,000 times. He didn't say I failed 10,000 times. He said I tried 10,000 different ways of creation, and it didn't work. So, and he needed to do all those to get to the one method that worked. But as you said, it is the mind. It's the mind that is always like duality, always like all these contradicting ideas that we crave change. We also crave stability and familiarity. But we always have to, the way we can win the mind, to me, is to always zoom out. Always think about who you really are. You're not your mind, you're not your body, you're not your name, you're not your gender. You are spirit, you are source, you are infinite intelligence, having a beautiful, supposedly fun, human, yes, supposedly fun, because it's not always fun, but to the spirit is. I think the spirit soul, God, is always looking and laughing and like, you're just in a game, just have fun, just yeah. Who was the Earl Nightingale, in his Strangest Secret, which is, I highly recommend everybody watch that. It's an audio actually on YouTube. It's called Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. He says, and he has such a beautiful voice, he says, for some strange reason, we think other people can do something and we cannot. But you said so many beautiful points, like the will and the desire to do something with your life, to do something meaningful, instead of just living your life, paying your bills, going along, and then waiting for retirement. Why people don't do that, I feel like it's because it goes back to what a lot of teachers and coaches emphasize on, which is the why. Like, what is your why? Because if you don't have a purpose, if you don't have a why, if you don't have that burning desire, of course you're going to try something new once, and if it doesn't work out, you're going to go back to your job, because there is no burning desire to back that up. And sometimes, actually for the majority of people, we need to develop that burning desire. It is not going to be there automatically because we didn't learn it from our parents. Probably they never followed their dream. You said 92% of people. Bob said somewhere along 95% of people. So I'm glad 3% more are following their dream now after many, many years. That's a good sign. Why is it that only 90-something% of people, they don't actually go after their dreams? And if someone is listening actually and they're like, yeah, that's me, I'm worried about my next month rent or mortgage. Sure, I do have a dream, but I cannot even think about it because of my needs. Before getting to that, I want to talk about something important you said. It is about the mind. And why is that we don't go after our dreams and we are in this? Because it's how the mind works. The mind main job is survival system, is to keep you safe. Your mind job is not for you to go after your dream and build a beautiful legacy. That's your soul, that's your heart. Your mind, which is very dominant, is to keep you safe. Survival system, animalistic awareness. And what is that survival system? It is staying in the familiar. Staying in the familiar, even though if I don't like it. That's why people stay in relationships they're not happy with. They stay in jobs they're not happy with the bosses, the environments that they're not happy with, because it is your mind. Your mind wants to keep you in the safe zone, which is the known familiar situation. But your heart knows, your soul knows. So again, we go back to zooming out and looking at yourself and realizing and understanding that you are not just the mind, you're not just the body, you're much bigger than that. And that bigger thing is calling you to go after something, which is your dream. And you have to constantly, daily, you have to fight the mind and develop that burning desire day after day. Think about that burning desire, write it down, visualize it, get lost in your visualization for 10-15 minutes a day. And you have to do these practices, otherwise nothing is gonna change. We cannot just do the things we did yesterday and expect magically to achieve our goals and dreams and desires. And just know that your dream and desire, it's the fulfillment of that dream existing energetically, calling you and causing you to want it, because it wants to be manifested through you. Let's say you want to be an actor or actress or a musician or a coach or an online influencer, whatever it is that your dream is. It's that dream. Everything is energy. Going back to what we talked about a few minutes ago, that dream, that desire is also energy. That energy is calling you to go after it because it want to be manifested, because dreams manifest through human beings. So that dream want to be manifested, that spirit wants to be manifested through you. Your soul always soul is always for expansion and fuller expression. The whole universe is for expansion. So if we're not living in a way that our life is expanding, we are going against the natural way of the universe. Like if my life is almost the same as last year, almost the same as 5 years ago, maybe a little bit better, and I am not experiencing that expansion, that also comes actually with fear. So it comes with fear, absolutely comes with fear and being uneasy. But that's how you know that you are living your life to the fullest and in harmony with your soul, in harmony with your higher self. One thing that really motivates me and gives me the drive is I try to think about, as you said, life is so short. I think about when I get old and I have my last few days, and when I look back, look at my whole life, what I have done, how I have lived, how many lives have I impacted, have I really lived, or what did I experience? And that, to me, like, if I feel like I didn't live life to the fullest and I had a dream and I didn't follow it, I had something in my heart but I didn't follow it, I was just working to pay my bills, imagine how devastating that feeling would be. Like, you're old, you don't have much time, and that's it, and you are leaving this planet, and you look back and you wonder, like, I wonder what would my life be if I actually trusted myself, trusted my feelings, trusted my dream, and went after what I wanted. We have to develop our faith and trust and certainty, not necessarily faith in terms of religious faith in the creator, faith in that intelligence that has created you. Your heart is bumping in your chest without you even needing to think about it or plan or turn it on or turn it off. Like, forget about the whole universe and planets and galaxies. Look at your body and how it is functioning without you needing to think about breathing in or breathing out. It is happening automatically. So that intelligence that created you, created this world, you have to have a trust that it has your back. It always has your back. You're always safe. And that's the people who used to be sleeping on park benches and created something amazing out of their life. They went after their dream. Somehow they developed that trust and faith and certainty, knowing that I'll be fine. I always will be fine. Yeah, we are the only one who stands in our own way. If you think about it, like, your again, whatever you want to call it, the creator, universe, source, intelligence, want to give you everything. Why not? Want to give you everything. Want to experience amazing experiences on this planet through you, because spirit doesn't have senses: hear, smell, see, taste, touch. So spirit can't wait for you to hear, smell, see, taste, touch amazing things in life. And if it is not happening, if there is any, and I know this might be triggering for some people, but I just have to put it out there. If there's anything that you're experiencing and is limiting you and is frustrating you, you are your only limitation. You can change that. Some things are given to us. We didn't want to be born in certain situation. We didn't choose our parents. Obviously we did. I mean, not obviously, but your soul actually did choose your parents. But even if we don't agree on that. Let's say I was born in this situation, in this family, and my dad left or my mom left, or I was born in this country, was not my choice. Sure, a lot of it was not your human self choice, but you do have a choice at any given moment to choose a different thought, to choose not to think yourself as a victim, to think differently, to learn your lessons and move on. To me, the ultimate form of freedom is one of my values. I love freedom, and I love everyone to experience freedom. But the ultimate form of freedom to me is the freedom of thought. No one can make you think a thought that you don't want to think. And no one can stop you from thinking a thought that you do want to think. And so it is a gradual process. Let's say someone is really struggling right now and they're in a really bad situation and they're like, I didn't want that, I didn't choose that. Okay, let's say you didn't choose that. And they want to go there from A to B, and B is what they want. Gradually, every day, you just need to shift your focus from A, which is what you don't want, to B, which is what you do want. The more you think about what you do want, the more energy you give it. The more you focus on something, the more energy you give to that thing. It is so strange, and I want to know what like scientists probably say about that. That I don't know why, as human beings, all of us, when there is a problem, when there is a conflict, when there's something that is not working in our life, why do we think about that and we focus on that problem and try to find a solution for that? It never works this way. You cannot find a solution for a problem from the same mind that has created the problem. What we need to do, yes, thank you. Sometimes I forget who said what. I love all these quotes. But when you do change your focus, and it's another quote, Buckminster Fuller, he's actually an architect. He said, to change an existing model, you cannot fight the existing model. You have to create a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. So you start thinking about what you want wherever you are, even if you're challenged, if you're experiencing a really hard time, and that is not easy to. It needs a lot of discipline, mind discipline to, okay, I'm not going to think about this thing that is right in my face and it's annoying me and it's upsetting. I'm going to use my discipline, I'm going to use my willpower of my mind, and I'm going to redirect my focus to, okay, what is it that I love? What is it that I want to experience? How do I want to live? How do I want my life to be, even though it is not here? That's the challenge. That's the biggest challenge, and the most important practice in manifestation is to ignore your five senses, because what you are experiencing with your five senses that you don't like is just a manifestation of the past energies and thoughts and vibrations. So we need to learn to, and that's the hardest practice, because first of all, because we've never done it before. We need to learn to ignore our five senses and say, just because it is my reality right now doesn't mean I have to give my attention to it. And then focus and pay attention to your dream that you cannot hear, smell, see, taste, touch yet. That's how we manifest. That's how we change the energy. Yeah, a lot of confusion, and also playing too small. Playing very small. People don't believe in themselves. People do not believe they can have the life that they desire. They think whatever situation that they are experiencing, that's it, and this is my life and I have to fight it. And they just so much limiting beliefs in all of us. As you said, no one is perfect. Although I believe a lot of people are becoming more and more conscious, more and more understanding of who we truly are, and it's beautiful to watch that so many people are coming to this awareness and more consciousness. But people are trapped, and their own limiting beliefs is their own worst enemy. We are our own worst enemy. No one is. It's a lot of limiting beliefs we are carrying in our paradigm. It is from our childhood, it is from generations ago, it is in our DNA, it is from our parents. I was reading something that was saying emotionally, your emotional blueprint, you have inherited it when you were in the womb from your mom. A lot of these things we inherited from our parents and from grandparents and generations ago. And as you said, from when you are born till the age of 7 or 8, you are programmed. You had no choice to accept or reject an idea that was given to you about life, about hardship, about relationships. You absorbed everything around you, about concepts about money, about success, about work. And that is the program that is still running, as you beautifully explained it about the hardware and the new program. So that's why I'm very passionate about the work that I do, because a lot of people just don't know that. They think it is because my government, it is because of my situation, it is because of my partner, it is because of my parents. It's because of the subconscious. It is because of the subconscious that running the program all the time with so many limiting beliefs. Consciously, we have a dream. Consciously, we know that we deserve more. We know that maybe we even know that consciously, I know I can make 2 times more, 3 times more, even 10 times more than what I'm making right now. But in your subconscious, there are so many contradicting beliefs. For example, it is hard to make money. Or if I make more money, I'm talking about money because I'm currently working with a lot of clients who are like business owners and entrepreneurs and solopreneurs. So the money is a big thing and I think it is a big thing in everyone's life because it's a tool, it's our exchange tool. So for example, if talking about money, on one hand, consciously, we want to make more money and we know we can do that. In our subconscious, we think, that was one of the conversations that I had with one of my clients, and we didn't realize it at the beginning. After a few time conversation, we realized he's worried that if he makes more money, he's going to be more busy and he's not going to have time to be with his family and enjoy life. So contradicting beliefs all the time in our subconscious, and these contradicting beliefs don't let us to manifest and live and achieve what we want, and we get frustrated and then we get confused and then we blame outside events. So we need to take responsibility. We need to shift our mindset from being a victim to, no, I accept whatever I'm experiencing. Somehow unintentionally I have created this situation for me. I didn't pay attention to my thoughts, my feelings, my vibration. It doesn't mean I intentionally wanted this situation, but unintentionally I didn't pay attention to my feelings and vibration, and this is what is manifested in my life today, right now. But because I am a powerful human being and I have a freedom of choosing different thoughts, I can choose and decide to think differently, to get out of that victim mentality, take responsibility and say, I can learn, I can reprogram my subconscious mind, and I can change my life. And it applies to any area of life, obviously, relationships too. It is, as long as you keep blaming your partner, nothing is gonna change. Nothing is gonna change. As long as you want to change them, you really try your best to change them, go look in the mirror and change yourself. Well, I'm a student of Bob Proctor, and he says, and we see that all the time in life. Like when you look at people, for example, who go on a diet and they want to lose weight, so they start going on a diet, so they do behave in a different way. They might start going to the gym, and I know them in my family and friends, and I'm sure there are people that you know as well, or friends of friends, or someone who's always seems like they are doing all the things and they are going on a diet. They're going on different diets every year, they're on a different diet. They're going to the gym, they're working out, they lose weight, they lose 10 pounds, 20 pounds, maybe more, and then again they gain it back, and they are on this roller coaster of gaining weight, losing weight, gaining weight, losing weight. And that is one of the examples of just taking action and not changing the subconscious programming. And I give you an example because subconscious might be not very tangible to people. So one of the main thing in the subconscious, one of the most important thing that Bob teaches, he calls the subconscious programming also the paradigm, a multitude of habits and ideas in our subconscious that is controlling us, what we were talking about. One of the most important things in that paradigm, in that subconscious, is our self-image, is our identity. And identity is one of the lessons I teach, and I feel like it has to be. When I'm taking my clients through the course, it's lesson 6. Identity is lesson 6, but I am recently taking them. I'm starting from lesson 6 because I realized it is such a key thing to change, and to change your results, to change your life, to change everything that you want. Everything we do, everything we manifest, everything we create has to be in our mind, has to be in a direct relation with how we see ourself, our self-identity, the belief that we have about who we are, our opinion about ourselves. And that is, again, that is in the subconscious, and a lot of it comes from childhood. And a lot of parents, God bless them, they were not perfect. They criticized us, they limit us, they were worried about us. Imagine if a baby like crawling and starting to learn how to walk, and usually all mother, most of the time, 99.9% of the time, they're worried. They say, be careful, don't fall, don't go there, be careful. You know, just repetition of that, be careful, and just being worried about you. And that feel, you know what creates in the subconscious mind of that baby? Not trusting themselves, tiptoeing through life, and not trusting their gut, not trusting their intuition, always being worried, always thinking what can go wrong, always thinking worst case scenarios, always being worried. A lot of people are worried all the time. Even if they are making enough money, they are worried. What if I be let go next month? What if I lose my job? What if I can't find any more clients? So again, a lot of it goes back to the childhood and the subconscious and the identity. So we need to create. So what is the solution? I always love to give a solution. Don't just talk about the problem. We need to create a beautiful self-image and identity for ourselves. Who do you want to be? Just because you've been some sort of character or personality up until now, it doesn't matter how old you are, does not mean that you have to stick with that character for the rest of your life. You can change that. You can change your idea about yourself. You can change your opinion about yourself. You can work on your confidence. And as you do that, then you will gonna take different actions in alignment with your new identity. So the actions, a lot of time, people go out there and work hard and hustle and grind, and they will get results. Don't get me wrong, that's one way of living, but it is a hard way of living, and it is not always consistent. The better way of living, the second option, would be to change that program, change that hardware, change that identity, change that subconscious, work on your limiting beliefs. And these things take time, obviously, it doesn't happen overnight. And then take action based on your new identity. And don't just sit there and think about your mindset and changing your mindset without taking the action, because nothing happens if we don't take the action. But the action that is in alignment with identity and a new self-image is much more in harmony and gives us better results, and with more ease and flow. It reminds me of the book I'm reading, The Science of Getting Rich. He says, because he talks a lot about thoughts and thinking in a certain way. And he talks about paying attention to your thoughts. And then he talks about action. And he says, by thought, you bring the thing that you desire to your life. By action, you receive that thing. So the same way as prayer, as soon as you pray, the prayer is answered immediately. Your prayer is always answered. But it is through you taking action that you receive it. You have to, needs to be an outlet. How is that thing is going to come to your life if you're not taking any action? And your desire wants you as much as you want it, because again, it is source energy wanting to be expressed in this life. So the desire cannot wait to be expressed through you. But you need to take action, because that's how it's going to be manifested. And I also wanted to touch on the subconscious, because sometimes it can be, again, confusing for people. You mentioned a really good point. It is through your conscious mind that you reprogram, you decide, you reject or accept the ideas, you pay attention to your conscious thoughts and the thought patterns that you're so used to that you might not even recognize right now. And that's how you reprogram the subconscious. But also pay attention to your feelings, because feelings is the language of subconscious, and we are actually manifesting by our feelings, because how we are, how we feel is, we are attracting things based on that same frequency, not by the thoughts that you think consciously. I want money, I want money, I want wealth, I want love, I want. If it is in your conscious and then your feeling is contradicting that, that's not going to happen. Another word for feeling is your mood. Like, ask yourself, what is my mood most of the time? Am I moody? Am I complaining? Am I negative? Am I like tense? Or am I happy? Or am I joyful? Or am I grateful? I have this on my desk every morning and many times during the day. I have this on a sticky note. What is my mood? What is my mood? Based on your mood, that's the language of subconscious. You are manifesting different situations, circumstances, people in your life. I had a conversation with someone who has a podcast. She had a situation with her ex, and she calls him a narcissist, and she says she's a narcissist, he's a narcissist, and she has created her whole new career focused on narcissism and how horrible these people are and how we should save ourselves. And I'm not saying there are not people who are narcissists out there, but I think this has also become one of those other buzzwords. Everyone who's separated or divorced, they say my ex was a narcissist. Men or women, doesn't matter. If you talk to the woman, they say the guy was a narcissist. Yeah, everybody apparently is a narcissist. And I said she wanted to interview me on her podcast, and we were talking about this narcissism and how to help women to get out of this situation and when they were with a narcissist. And I said, yeah, I mean, it's horrible. I can't even imagine living in that situation, being gaslighted all the time, and you don't even believe in yourself anymore. It is horrible. I'm not saying it is a fun thing, absolutely not. And I'm not minimizing the experience at all. But what I told her, and I'm suggesting here, is that ask yourself, and I was kind of hesitant to tell her that because I didn't know her reaction, because she was really charged with the experience of living with a narcissist. I said, but what if you ask yourself, like, why did I attract this narcissist person into my life? What was in me that attracted him into my life? And she paused and she loved it. And she said, I absolutely believe I attracted him. I probably didn't have enough self-worth. I probably didn't love myself enough. Now I love myself more than ever before. But when I'm thinking back, when I met him first, I didn't have this level of self-love and self-respect that I have for myself. And maybe I should have gone through that horrible experience to learn to love and respect myself more. Now I am not going to settle for anything, and I know my worth, I know my values, and I'm bringing this to all the other women and helping them. So the whole point is to we just literally take the power back when we say, why is this happening in my life? What in me unconsciously attracted and manifested into my life? And how can I improve myself so that I don't experience something similar anymore? Yeah, I love our conversations too. Like, I wanted to go so many different directions, but I know I have to go too. But just one thing quickly, as you said, it's not a solo journey. It's absolutely not a solo journey. No one can do it alone. You can't, they say if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you're going to go far, go together. So if you want to go further, go with other people. But there's a but, because you mentioned something collectively, and not everybody going to the same destiny and direction that you want. So we have to be selective with people that we choose. And again, another quote, you become like the average of the 5% you spend most of your time with. So pay attention who you are taking this journey with. Pay attention to your close friends. And you have to be in this kind of environment, like this beautiful podcast that you have created, people watching it, listening to it. Come back to this, come back and watch these things. And we have to be intentionally in this kind of environment with people who talk about these kind of things. Otherwise with by default we are just going to follow the masses, which unfortunately not going after their dreams, and we're going to stagnate and we're not going to get anywhere.